Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. You're probably here wondering what DX Racer gaming chair looks like in its 6th year of ownership. And I got this chair a long time ago, and it was one of my bigger purchases back in the day. I mean, $360–$70 is a lot for a chair if you think about it. And you know what? I don't regret it because this thing has been my companion for the past 6 years, and it's been a long journey with it. So, just like any of you, you probably watch tons of videos all over YouTube, read posts on Reddit, and all different kinds of websites just to see whether or not it was worth it in order to buy a gaming chair. And I wanted to give you my honest opinion of what it's like owning a gaming chair and how it has held up throughout the time. And I found that there weren't too many reviews of ownership for long durations. There's quite a bit of videos for 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, and whatnot. But 6 years, that's a long time. It's like half a decade. When I got out of college back in got in college in 2012, yeah, 2012, and then I started working. I finally worked on paying off my school loans and stuff, and I kind of wanted to make a big purchase for myself and buy something nice for myself, so I decided to upgrade my entire computer rig, and that was great. And I figured that, hey, I'm going to get a gaming chair too. I've seen it throughout tons of streams. I used to be a big league watcher. I'm somewhat still am, but since a lot of the older players retired, it hasn't been the same. So I saw a bunch of the chairs that they were using, and everybody was using DX Racer at the time. That was like the big chair brand name that everybody wanted to get. So I figured I'd do a little bit of research. There weren't too many brands at the time. I think there was AK Racing. There were some like off brands on Mass Drop, which is a website that does like I guess like they sell pallets of certain items that the community votes on, and you get it at like a discounted rate. So there was that too. There was a bunch of brands that I don't recognize, and I went with DX Racer because everybody seemed to have them. They seemed like the tier 1 gaming chair to get. So I bought it. I spent $369 on this chair, and it was the 0 series for my chair, and it was rated for people that are about 6 feet high and 225 pounds. So at the time being, I was, let's see, I'm 5'8" for my height, and I weighed about 175 pounds at the time. So I was fairly light back then, and this chair like fit me. It was great. When I got this chair, I sat in, I was like, wow, whew, this chair is so comfortable, I could sleep in it. And then this chair, it was like unlike any other chair that I've ever had. So I've had tons of office chairs and other chairs throughout my entire life. My parents would get these office chairs for me, and we could only get what we could afford back in the day. So we bought chairs from Walmart, Target, Office Max, Office Depot, eventually Costco, once Costco came around here, and all of them had the same issue. The leather started to peel everywhere after about a year or two, maybe 3 years of gaming, and I would just go through these chairs left and right. My parents would go in and be like, it's time for a new chair. This chair is disgusting. It's just molting, and they just wanted to get rid of it. So I'm blessed that they kept getting me new chairs, but at the same time I figured that I might as well spend the extra money, the 300. I guess it would be an extra 150 if I was buying a $150 chair at the time. I'm just spending a little bit more than double in order to get a so-called higher quality chair. So I decided to get this chair, and for the most part, it's held up throughout the test of time, right? It's in the 6 years of ownership. I got this back in 2015. It's 2021, and I'm filming this. So it's been great. I would have to say though that throughout the 6 years, it has definitely started to show its age, and I think I'm in my next step to retire this bad boy and go with a new chair. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna get yet, but I'll figure it out eventually. Alright, so that should probably be it about me, and you learned a bit about why I got this gaming chair, and that's enough of the backstory. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this video and see what this chair looks like. All right, so the first main issue of this chair is the headrest. So this is a additional pillow that they've added with this chair, and as you can tell, the quality has gone down drastically. So it's mostly on this white part of the headrest, basically where I come into contact with my head and the pillow. So if you think about it, my head has oils on it, sweat, it gets hot, I lay on this pillow, and this is where it comes into contact. And for example, if I just took a shower and I sat in my chair, I don't blow dry my hair, and it comes into contact with this, and moisture is the enemy of this chair, and it eventually causes damage. In my third year, I started to notice that it was chipping in small parts. It probably looked like this at first, like smaller cracks, but eventually it just started to get so bad and huge chunks started to fall off. So, as a stopgap measure, I tried to increase my longevity of this chair. So I flipped this the other way around. Oh. I started to use this headrest reversed, and there's no damage on this part of the headrest for some reason. It's only really on the white leather, and it's not real leather either. It's a polyurethane leather, I believe, and I don't know why the black part has not been damaged. But what happens is if I use it this way, the white stuff still falls off, and what happens is it falls to the bottom of my chair. I haven't cleaned it so I could show you what happens, but this is just a small amount of fragments from the headrest pillow. Alright, going down to the next section is the lumbar rest. So the lumbar rest has frayed and damaged over time as well. The chipping has not been as bad as the headrest, seeing how, I'm mostly wearing a shirt and pants. So I think this is just friction over time from sitting on it repetitively. However, this is a memory foam pillow, and there's issues with this as well. It has gotten significantly flatter over time. As you can see that it is bent and looks creased and flattened over here. And this memory foam basically serves me no purpose at this point. I don't actually use this anymore. I ended up buying a different lumbar support pillow that was about $10 in order to get, a better position on my chair. So I don't actually use this. But as you can see where the backrest is, basically there's no damage on it. There's some slight fraying right here where the 0 is. But that's just probably because, when I sit in it, I probably rub up against it. But if I snip this probably would be fine. I don't want to pull this thread. And this entire part is fine as well, but I noticed that there's cracking and issues along the edge of the chair. So my body doesn't really come into contact with this edge. I don't touch it really at all. However, there's cracking all over around the sides. I think this is just natural wear and tear from it. Here's another example. This part looks a lot better than the other side, so it depends on the location. The next place I want to talk about is the seat itself. So the seat is damaged here. This is where my legs rest on the chair, and there's 3 tears, 1, 2, 3. For the most part, the seat is not the same as it once was. So originally the seat right here was raised higher. However, throughout the time as I continue to sit on this chair, it has slowly flattened to the point where I definitely noticed it's flat here. The seat is fairly comfortable still. It's not as comfortable as it once was. However, I do notice that it has gotten a bit stiffer throughout the time. And also, there is massive wear and tear here at the bottom as well. So if you can see here, this is where my thighs basically hit the chair. And if I'm wearing jeans, pants, I think that caused some damage as well. However, it's probably mostly due to my long gaming sessions in the summer where it gets hot and I start to sweat, and this part eventually just got damaged, similar to the headrest. On the other side as well is the same issue, except this is more clearly peeled off than the other side. So You know, it's a bummer that this had to happen, but it was inevitable, right? And over here on the wings, there is slight cracking as well. My legs don't really touch this part since it's probably more folded over here. And there's some similar cracking here as well. However, this wing position is not natural. So these wings used to be a lot closer together. However, you know, I gained some weight and my body got bigger. So I stretched out the wings of the chair. I made this chair fit me. And, you know, I think I need a bigger chair. The back of this chair is still great. The design is still intact. The leather has not chipped at all. And I think it's mainly because I don't come into contact with the back of the chair. Like, I'm not constantly touching it. It's not absorbing the moisture or oils of this chair. And there's no damage on it. I can zoom up closer so you can see what the leather looks like. It looks like as if I just got this chair still. The last big issue of this gaming chair is the piston itself. I'm not going to disassemble it. However, throughout the time, it started to make a creaking, clanking noise, and it's gotten terrible. I could hear it across the hall if someone was sitting on it. However, I watched a couple YouTube videos on how to repair it without actually buying a new piston, which is fairly expensive. It's like, I think 40 bucks or 50 bucks. I bought this white lithium grease, and I basically clean the piston in here and put lithium grease on here, and for the most part it has been a stopgap measure. I don't really hear the noise at all. Every 3 months or so I will have to replace it, which is quite unfortunate, and it has gotten worse throughout the time where I might have to grease it more frequently, but this is just a stopgap measure. Like I said, I did this and I put Gorilla Glue in order to fix my armrest as a stopgap measure, and I think it's time to let this chair go because this chair is falling apart, and right now what's bugging me about this chair is mainly the sounds that it's making. And I don't want to spend $50, $60 in order to replace the piston because I'd rather just put that money towards a new chair. So I'll show you an example of what this chair sounds like. Getting dizzy here. So this is just an example of the sound, and this sound isn't at its worst yet. So I replaced the lithium grease probably about a month and a half ago, so it's not quite there yet. I probably have to replace it again, but these are all little tiny stopgap measures. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I can still live with this chair for maybe a year or two. I could probably stretch it out to about 3 years, to be honest, and I could sit in this chair probably just fine. However, you know, I kind of at the point where I would just want to replace this chair and get something nice and new, because, you know, this gaming chair is part of your showpiece, right? This is what you sit on as a daily driver, and eventually, you know, when things get old, you just want to replace it. Same with shoes, clothing, you know, the chair itself, for me, I feel like I need to replace it. Alright, so I know there's tons of videos about why you shouldn't get a gaming chair and why you should get an ergonomic chair, and I've sat in ergonomic chairs at work and the office and they're fine. I can sit in them. However, I don't like to relax in them. I don't find them relaxing. If I'm coming home from work and I want to sit in a chair, I want to sit in a comfortable chair, and it doesn't have to be 100% efficient, right? It could just be a chair that you like sitting in and it just feels good. This chair, I still fall asleep in it from time to time. If I'm extremely tired from staying up the night before and I just started dozing off, I can fall asleep in this chair. This chair is still fairly comfortable still. I don't fall asleep many times in my chair, but I probably fallen asleep maybe at least 4, 5, 6 times. In the beginning, I fell asleep more often because that's how comfortable this chair really was, but you know, after years it's not as soft as before, so there's definitely wear and tear and deterioration there. But like any other product, there's tons of gaming chair brands that you could buy. There's AK Racing, DX Racer, there's Secret Lab now, which is up there in marketing. I'm not sure how great their chairs are, but I'm sure it's up there. I know there's tons of videos where they said that all these chairs are rebranded and they're knockoffs, and it could be very so, but I can't speak for that for every gaming chair brand. But I think the main reason why people buy gaming chairs is because they like the aesthetic and the look of it. This is similar to the whole RGB versus no RGB on your computer and peripherals. So if you like RGB, that's great. If you don't like it, that's great. This is the same as you buying clothing, like I mentioned, like Nike, or like I like buying Adidas Ultra Boost, right? So why should I spend, if you bought this at full retail price, I don't buy them at full retail price for Ultra Boost, I buy them on sale. But if you buy them at full retail price, these shoes aren't cheap. Like, why are you spending so much money on shoes when you could just go to, let's say, Payless or Kohl's or JCPenney or Nordstrom Rack and buy shoes on clearance that are considered running as well? Why do you have to get this specific brand, this style? Why are you spending so much? You could get 3 cheaper pairs for that same price. And it's the same concept, right? Like, they could perform relatively almost the same. However, you like the look of it, you like the color. Like, I love this triple black design. Like, it's so clean to me. But there's other people that don't appreciate that. So you know what? That's fine as well. It's the same as a restaurant, right? You can have 90% of the people say this restaurant is the best restaurant in the world, but there'll be that 10%, no matter what they have on this menu, they won't like it, because everybody has different taste buds. Everyone has different values of aesthetics that appeal to them. Everybody's different in general. So, you know, everyone's going to have their own opinion. If you're in the camp of where you're probably going to buy a gaming chair, you probably will buy a gaming chair. However, if you're the type that, you know, let's say brands don't matter to you, you don't believe in the marketing, you're only looking for efficiency, well, I think getting an ergonomic chair will probably last you a lot longer. Like I said, I'm in my 6th year of owning this gaming chair, and the wear and tear is there, and I'm pretty much giving this chair like life support measures. However, if you bought an ergonomic chair, there's probably less maintenance involved. You probably just have to just wipe it and maybe vacuum it if there's like dust or anything. And you can get fairly cheap ergonomic chairs if you get it used, if you want to go that way. But for the most part, ergonomic chairs can be pretty pricey itself if you go for the top tier. I think mainly they were advertising the Herman Miller, and I think there was like a Steel Case or Steel Leap. I don't know which brand it was, but there was a chair that's quite as expensive up there as well. So if you want to go that route, you know, just go for that route. However, I think if you're in the market for a gaming chair, you need to buy a gaming chair that fits you. So like I said, this gaming chair right here, at first it fit me. I was 5'8", 170 pounds, but now 6 years later, I don't weigh 170 pounds anymore. I've gained some weight. So I'm 190 right now, so I gained 15 pounds. I need to lose it. However, I have big thighs and, you know, a wide base. So I've stretched out the wings of this chair. So originally this chair was like this, flat, and then it had 2 wings on the side. But eventually I stretched it out in order to fit me. So I forced this chair to fit me. And this chair doesn't fit me anymore. So if I'm in the market for a chair, I'm probably looking for a bigger chair. I sit in various positions. And I think that, you know, how big a chair affects how you can sit in those positions, depending on your body type. So I think most people try to buy a chair and force it to fit them. And well, in my case, I forced this chair to fit me, but you should buy a chair that fits you. So this chair was rated for people that weighed a maximum of 225 pounds and up to 6 feet. However, I think if you meet like towards the top end of that spectrum, you should probably be looking in order to get a bigger chair, because I think it'll be more comfortable that way. All right, I wanted to go through some seating positions. So number 1, I would consider this the most common position people sit in. You know, lumbar support, there's a memory foam headrest right here, and then there's a slight tilt in the back. So I would say this is the most common position people game in. Sometimes people sit a bit forward, but it's fairly relatively the same. The second most common position I think people like to sit in is cross-legged. So I like to sit with one leg folded over, and I definitely can do that in this chair. I like playing in this position sometimes if I had a controller right here in my hands, or if I'm just playing on mouse and keyboard, I can do that as well. Another position that people like to sit in is cross-legged. And I used to be able to do this, but I can't do this anymore because I've gotten way too big. So like my legs slide off right here when I'm sitting cross-legged, and it's just unfortunate when you get bigger, things get harder to do, so you can't do what you used to be able to do. So if you like sitting cross-legged position and you're my body size, well, you might not be able to do this on this chair. This is the DX Racer Zero series. And another position that I can sit in fairly frequently is when I'm watching movies or I'm watching a show or YouTube, is I like to just kick it with my feet up. I know this is terrible for my table, people don't approve of it, but I find this very comforting and relaxing. Another similar type position is that I also have a yoga ball. And I just kick my feet up with this yoga ball, and this is relaxing for me too. Or I just have my feet like this with the yoga ball. These positions are comfortable for me, and you may not like this, but this is how I really sit in my chair. The recline feature of this chair works perfectly fine. Sometimes I use the recline feature, but it's not too often where I recline all the way back. I mean, right now I can enjoy this position, but I don't do this all the time. Maybe once in a blue moon, but I don't use the whole horizontal recline feature. I think though, if you're getting a gaming chair, you kind of need to get some other things as well, because I feel like humans weren't made to sit in a chair 24/7. So I have some other things that I've bought. For example, I showed you my yoga ball. Sometimes I actually do sit in my yoga ball when I don't want to sit in my chair. It's a different feeling. It just changes things up. So these little things in combination with my gaming chair makes it worthwhile, because sometimes you just get tired of sitting. It doesn't matter what chair it is. I could be sitting in an office chair. I could get tired of sitting in my chair. Sometimes you just need to stand up even. So let me show you an example of my yoga ball. So sometimes I sit on my yoga ball, it's great. However, in order to use a yoga ball feature, I feel like you need a standing desk in combination. So I have a standing desk as well. So between a gaming chair, my standing desk, and my yoga ball, I probably sit in my gaming chair probably 85% of the time. 10% of the time I'm using my standing desk, and maybe 5% of the time I'm using my yoga ball. So for the most part, a mix of the combination has done me wonders. I don't stand 100% of the time. For example, maybe one day I'll stand all day for maybe like 4 hours. I can stand fine. And then another day I'll just do 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. It just depends how I'm feeling. So a standing desk really helps, because if you just have a yoga ball and the height is not properly adjusted, it may be uncomfortable trying to use your mouse and keyboard, right? So I definitely recommend, if you wanted to use a yoga ball, you get a standing desk as well. Alright, so I've been fairly positive about why you should get a gaming chair. However, I think I should go over through reasons why you shouldn't get one, because a gaming chair, there's a difference between a need and a want, I guess. And a gaming chair should be some of the last things that you would want. You can sit in any chair with gaming. Like, it doesn't matter. When I was a kid, I was sitting on the floor, I was sitting on the sofa, I was standing up, I was sitting on a desk even when I was gaming. So there's other things that you can buy. And if there's something, let's say you're on a 5-year-old CPU or 5-year-old graphics card, get the graphics card and CPU upgrade. That's gonna go like, it's, I know it's more expensive, like upgrading all that, but that's gonna give you better performance down the line. Or if you don't even have a 144 hertz monitor, or even higher, they make higher models now, like that's gonna give you more more competitive experience while you're gaming, and it's gonna give you a better experience because gameplay is gonna be a lot smoother. Graphics, you can bump it up higher. It's like eye candy like while you're gaming, because you know you got better computer hardware. This gaming chair, it's not gonna make me hit 20 headshots. It's not gonna make me unstoppable in my gameplay. Like I said, I use my yoga ball and I use my standing desk at the same time sometimes, and you know that suffices, and I game fine on that because I'm used to it. And you can game on anything, you know. A gaming chair is not going to make you game any better. It's mainly, you know, if you want to sit in something that's fairly comfortable and you like the aesthetics of it. Another reason why you shouldn't get a gaming chair is, you know, you value comfort. And if you value efficiency, this is not an efficient buy, I feel like. You know this item's going to deteriorate. And depending where you live, it's gonna deteriorate much quicker than mine's. I live in the Midwest. We get really harsh cold winters sometimes, hot summers. For the most part, in the summer, my house is air conditioned, so I'm not sweating as much. However, if you live in Florida or in the desert and it's hot and it's super humid and you don't turn on the AC and you sweat a lot, well, this chair, it might not last you 6 years like me. It's gonna last you maybe 3 years, 4 years, I'm not sure. But you know, your mileage will vary on these chairs, so it might not be the best buy. Maybe it'll be better for you to make an investment for an ergonomic style chair because it has that mesh back and mesh bottom where it's breathable, and you know, even if you do sweat, all you have to do is just wipe it and that's it. Because at the end of the day, everybody lives somewhere else. Everyone has different aesthetics that appeal to them. Everyone has different budgets and price points. You know, it's a different situation for everybody. However, if you feel like you want to have a gaming chair and that's the chair that you want, go for it. Because in the back of your mind, it's gonna nag at you. It's like, why didn't I get a gaming chair? I still want it. I don't know what it's like. I have to try it at least once. And this was, yeah, it was an expensive purchase back in the day when I made it, and I made it worth it. You know, your mileage is gonna vary for it, so I feel like it's worth it. I don't have back problems like some people say for these gaming chairs. Like my back is fine. Like I don't know. Everyone's gonna have a different experience on it. So I can tell you my back is fine. I don't have back issues. I think I have fairly good posture. If I want to slouch, I slouch. If I want to lean back, I lean back. But you know, for the most part, you know, I enjoy my chair. It's been my gaming companion for the past 6 years, and it's my only chair. But I think it's on its last legs pretty soon. I could probably squeeze out another year or two, but I'm probably gonna end up replacing this chair. So I'm not sure whether or not I'm gonna go for another gaming chair or go for an ergonomic style chair. I'm probably 80-20 on this. But if you got some brands and recommendations down below, let me know down in the comments, and then I'll check them out because, you know, I'm in the market for a chair right now, and maybe I'll make another video once I get my chair and I'll give you a review on my chair. But like most new chairs, when you get it, it's gonna be nice. You're gonna have a nice chair that doesn't creak. You're gonna have a chair that reclines. All the features work, you know, like my armrests here are not gonna be deteriorated. The leather's not gonna be chipping most likely. Like these chairs are gonna be fantastic. So, you know, these new chair reviews are kind of misleading in a way. Like you need someone to review a chair that sits in it regularly. That's how you know whether or not this chair works. If this is their main chair and someone sits on it like 4 hours every single day, that's how you know this chair is a test through time. So, you know, my experience 6 years in, I can squeeze out 1 or 2 more years, but that's probably about it. But for the most part, I'm looking for a new chair. But if you like everything, thanks, sub, comment, you know, do the whole spiel. But thanks for watching, and hopefully my experience has helped you with your decision making. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye.